we'll see which of these two things comes to be as we take our fly through over Corrode. And again, this will be a really interesting, just general look for me. I mean, I've watched obviously teams play it, but it's different when you're watching it versus when you're casting it. So see how things start to unfold here as, yep, one-way smoke on top. And, ooh, B-Dog actually gets a little bit maybe baited into that just a touch. Infiltrator happy to take that fight until the smoke blocks off signs of the A site. And we'll reset and try again.
Yeah, Winthrop able to get a little bit confident towards mid. The Owl Drone going to go ahead and get tossed into the pinch through the tunnel, but YFP still holding the majority of the site itself. Thief does get cut down. Now it's
so
B-Dog's
annoying.
turn, and the relay bolt gets thrown in. And yeah, this is just how good Neon is on Corrode, but B-Dog does win that fight. Now holding it down solo against the A push as it makes its way on site. Jake, he just gets inside as the smoke gets in, so Glyph falls too.
Got really good cross in the connector back through mid. Moobs essentially has to hold his position to stop that link. Ollie shuts down the knife. B-Dog thinking about the peak, but defense doesn't have to do really much of anything right now. Oh, maybe now they would. Ollie able to clear off the backside of A, puts Moobs into a bit of a dangerous spot. As Jake will force the issue, find another. Governor following up unexpected. These are all just gunfights that are popping through smokes that neither, well, one of the other two players in the 1v1s have not expected the interactions to unfold. And Stellar's going to think maybe there's a late rotate back to B through A link. That's not the case. So Governor will have two isolated 1v1s here.
YFP are looking at the clock, and so the reactions are still quite knee-jerk, trying to double down on fights rather than just waiting things out to gain the advantage back. But Governor is able to get the plant down and will now force the reset as Stellar will step back with that little extra bit he can offer to the health pool as YFP go for the approach, and will make sure that Governor has forced himself to back up. This will force YFP in now, though.
Governor over the first clean. No, runs out of ammunition. May have had a chance at that one, but runs out of bullets. We did able to follow up, find the kill, and take the opening pistol there for YFP. Nixie battle, though. Again, it just felt like everything was on one side or the other when it comes to like little smoke pops that had happened. So again, kind of continuing the same conversation from Bind. Whoever is able to play off their controller better is currently winning.
Yeah, again, it was very pin drop reflexes for going both ways. And you saw YFP try to continuously get proactive on top of it once they saw that they had been able to find those pickoffs. But you also saw that because of the way that Corrode sort of presents itself, Winthrop still have such an open season type ground to be able to fight on when YFP decide to open that. So it is really tough to balance aggression, especially defensively, here on Corrode. You will see, though, with the better guns, B-Dog is going to get a little creative for sure.
Yep. And that's just, again, when you could really maximize the distance gained and retracted, Waylay essentially can play forward like that through one-way smokes without really much punish. So that A corner is going to be an interesting one to kind of keep our eye on. We did just checking things over towards mid-stairs. And now, goodness. It's one of those times. A little fadeaway airy shot works. Jake also to find Glyph. And really, these last couple of sheriffs are going to be over-isolated as Jake will get 3 in the round.
I don't think we've seen everything that YFP really has for this comp just yet. I definitely think that they've sort of gone through the motions, but when they actually are able to get rifles, I expect Jake to maybe fall back just a tiny bit. He's been extremely active to start things out. He's been frontlining a little bit heavier, and I really appreciate how much Jake has been starting to do that in the advent of active omens that we've had lately here in Challengers. It's been really fun to watch. But I do think that Weedid is going to be able to start kind of taking those trades a little more often when it comes to at least retaking, which YFP might start getting forced to do. Shoot, maybe they'll keep winning fights early.
You never know. I think that's the other thing is like you're seeing it again, just on the minimap, like paranoia and then a double dash from B-Dog. It's free. You can clear up that space so easily. So now your defensive focus towards A becomes a little bit more pressed. Same to be said for middle as a smoke for the offense congests the backside of that mid window. And it's just Winthrop just pushing up, making a little bit of noise, and just kind of continuing to put the pressure across the entirety of the map.
It's a really tough conversation that you have to force YFP to have here, and it's all thanks to Ollie's Viper with the toxic screen, I mean, you can make a site just so decisive that this really makes the execute very simple, but YFP are doing a great job of making sure that they still spread their resources a little thin to prevent mid from very easily being taken, because here on Corrode, mid gets snowballed so quickly once you start letting go of space on it. You already see Infiltrator really starting to choke up on Jake. But alternatively, you also see Winthrop taking advantage of how much you have to hold up against A side if you want to fight it early, and are using that to take B instead. Infiltrator may fall, but ultimately YFP are still behind. And mid, I was about to say it was taken, but Ollie can't hold it either.
Here comes the fight over towards B-Link. You got one more of the defenders playing over towards Arch. And actually, Jake may have thought about trying to commit to the teleport, but now he's going to make Stellar aware that there is a defender a little bit deeper on the B site. Winthrop fall off the high ground. Going to play the contact down low. Here comes the crunch. Governor not able to hit a shot. Glyph follows up for only one. Damage looking good here for the side of YFP. And yeah, Thieves going to connect on to 3. Wins the bonus for YFP, now up 3-0 early.
You could tell that Winthrop were a little spooked walking into this. I don't think they expected, again, Jake to get as aggressive as he did, jumping down from that high ground very early to push that fight the second that Winthrop started it. And from there, YFP continued to shuffle from angle to angle, just further and further back. They have a lot of space to just continue to duck behind, and they played with that rhythm really beautifully to take over that round and ultimately just hold that back. Just ultimately really impressive stuff from YFP so far on this map. You see, even put under so much pressure from Winthrop, they really have a read on how they can gain that space back in the long run, which is so tough to visualize on this map.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like, you know, again, what Winthrop maybe try to do from here on out is if B-Dog is going to continue to double dash forward through either the connector at A on the one-way smoke site or just into B main, wait for all that utility to pop, and then take the waylay out of commission because he's got no more utility. Problem is, you can't wait forever. And whoa, B-Dog, almost a little 1-2 finesse onto Ollie. Not going to work out. And hold on a second, Winthrop are going to have some numbers here. Weeded is also tagged after that battle happens over towards A main. Yeah, but he finds another on the exit back over towards the site itself. As the neural theft gets called, this is just trying to run down and isolate Weeded, but he's already out of there.
Yeah, I appreciate him getting greedy only as long as he needed to. And he'll do it again, actually. Get away with that last one as the push gets through. But Winthrop can actually feast on the scraps, and Jake, now alone, will fall as well. So it's Thief in the 1v2 to prevent Winthrop from getting on the board, but no util available for the attackers. So Thief can cut off one of these lines with the help of the cage, potentially tap for half, but peeks into Glyph, holding it up with the Sheriff. Of all the rounds for Winthrop to win, they take this one, and they're on the board.
And that's been a couple of rounds so far in this series that Winthrop have showed that, like, no round is unwinnable. And another one that kind of comes through and I won't say like saves the half because it's still super early, but it puts you in a position to really mitigate the loss of that bonus, obviously. And it puts you right back into the world of, you know, getting back to full buy where you can try to counteract YFP just a touch. You did have to make a couple of repurchases in that last round. So you do have the operator, but a couple of light armors, a bulldog in the picture. Nightfall's really the only serviceable ultimate here for YFP if they decide they want to play something like retake. But to play through middle, just a walk up from Glyph catches Weeded, and that's a lot of issue now for YFP, split 2-2 on this defense.
I just really appreciate how Winthrop University are weaponizing that ego-driven mindset that North American Valorant has really started to play into because of the skill level that these players are at. That I'm better mentality, so many players are starting to adopt it and just continue to play for themselves, play to win these fights because they think they can. And that, a lot of times, at this level can be enough. But Winthrop weaponizing that and turning it into isolated fights. An Infiltrator gonna try and find one himself. Jake, easy prey here alone, has to get some help, and he has it. Is Jake able to get rid of one? Operator available. B-Dog having to back out, now gonna get pinched on A.
Yeah, he's stuck on this position.
30 seconds
Defensive
left.
knife will keep the offense away for a little while longer, but now a chance for a plant. And what should be a very comfortable 4v3 post plan here, especially with Hunter's Fury in the mix if you want to back away and use that as a insurance policy. But it looks like Governor's just going to hang on top of the site. Ollie trying to force the battle over towards the backside at A. And yeah, this little rotation in through the crane, it's pretty predictable. And yep, all it takes is a bit of a crossfire setup. And YFP will back away. Yeah, there's no way they can go through this.
Can't justify it. Not even for the rifle upgrade. That would be a couple inches away. You just can't reliably clear that space. And that's another reason that the Waylay is just so drip or drown on this map. When it comes to the retake game, especially if B-Dog is opting for that operator, you need to have such a heavier hold on the site. And with the help of the toxic screen, Winthrop University can turn those fights on a dime. You saw the way they manipulated that hallway and continued to practice that pressure, continued to force YFP to back away. And yet again, you continue to play into that aggression that each player individually has, that need to continue fighting in order to hold on to space that each member of YFP feels like they need to play into. And so you continue to get away with trades, you continue to hold that man advantage, you keep on winning rounds.
I mean, that round's made super simple because you get that pick at mid. I mean, it's just so tough for YFP to hit back through that. You gotta be a little bit more careful than that if you're weeded. This time, little mid stairs play for B-Dog. What? Looked like he was gonna have one for free. Instead, Moobs connects onto the headshot. And with the Hunter's Fury cutting across A, now you've already got Winthrop playing at elbow. And honestly, if you're YFP, your only option is to try to play some sort of a crossfire to stop the reinforcements, but they're not going to get a look at this.
You got to commit so much heavier to this so early. And WU can do really whatever they want to. YFP are here early, though, so you have to contribute a lot.
Oh, there is a judge in play for Thief. Opposite side of the toxic screen. Oh, he gets caught looking at the camera. Oh, and then, what, hello?
Last player standing.
Okay.
Glyph's like, hey, look at me. I've got my knife out and I'm running. Unreal. Winthrop just do not know what it means to drop early and say roll over. Like, it's just 3 rounds on the bounce, as comfortable as you'd like, and YFP are back to a save.
These students are studying. That's what they do best. They're really just learning to get these reads on teams in YFP. I mean, when we saw them on Corrode previous, Envy had sort of the same problem, just it took a little bit longer for them to have an idea of how to stop the snowball. They were able to, though, eventually, and they returned the favor pretty hard. If Winthrop are able to continuously twist this knife in, whether it's, again, through that very strong A site that continues to necessitate more resources the second you win the mid-fight, or this off-angled B that Stellar is now on an island for, this looks to be a very strong attack half for Winthrop University.
Yeah, so far, I mean, I think just losing that bonus round for YFP sticks in your head a little bit, but the bounce back has been extraordinary. Relay bolt fragment, and that's just Neon doing Neon things. The crossfire setup, though, for YFP, and then a turn for Weeded works out nicely. Nightfall. Called. Governor is affected by that. Still able to kind of keep the ground that he had taken, though. So now joining him, whoa, careful, is Ollie. And wow, it's a bold position just to plant off of, especially knowing that YFP would just challenge you from there. 5% earned, will be spent, but we did able to find one. Ollie now by himself. The 1v2 situation.
What?
And you've got an Earl that's going to be called in. Ollie try to dance the devil just a touch. There's the snake bite. Follow-up ping starts to come through. Able to spam out for one. Now it's just down to can he find the last? And he's able to, but it doesn't make a difference. Thief pops up with 1 HP and the Bucky. And that'll be all he needs. Unreal.
So many questions about that round. I mean, the execute, first of all, felt just a little bit stuck. Glyph, unfortunately, was not able to activate until after the first couple kills had transpired, and by that point, you already had YFP responding. It's already a 2 for 2, and he comes out, and he's only good for the 1. He has to completely reset here. And first of all he gets a little lucky. The Prowler that's thrown on him immediately doesn't catch him. I'm amazed that we didn't get that proc. But even still, I mean, I am amazed that, first of all, the Viper's Pit was used, and then it didn't end up being enough.
Oh, now B-Dog gets benefited by seeing the tip of a barrel. Good first blood there in a full purchase round for YFP. Thief's going to find more with Spy Cam. It's not that there was really any point of contact to come off of that, just a little bit of a, hey, we see you. And everything kind of comes to a bit of a halt here for the side of WU. Well, B-Dog punished Rover, extending at mid-stairs, gets us back to the level footing. That may help out just a touch.
These players really just underestimate how quickly they can get caught, how quickly teams can make up ground and catch them with their pants down. YFP preemptively backing away, just holding the hallway choke, understanding again how much space they get to control for free here without having more players available, which they're finally on the way here.
Now Jake gets us kicked off again. Numbers advantage for YFP. And honestly, if you're Winthrop, you're hoping and praying that Moves finds something on this lurk. And whoa. Yeah, he does catch Stellar. Now Thief is the next one potentially in line, stuck between a rock and a hard place. But Jake's rotation back, he's going to hear the footsteps. Honestly, if he just finds the two, this would be incredible. There's the first. Second on the corner, no. Moves provides. That should lead to a plant.
Just enough time, I believe. Yep. You really saw the vision there from Jake, though, didn't you? Man, that TP was everything to try to just play for the clock. Insane attempt. But now it's just Thief by himself, and Winthrop have just enough time to work with. Insane plays coming from YFP to try to make up for that lost ground. Great early kill from B-Dog. Don't let this guy get excited. Don't let this guy get activated on the defense. He's going to start getting away with way too much if he's allowed to, but great recovery from Winthrop. They skate around what they do. Unimpressed by Infiltrator's approach there, but moves with another legendary lurk. And
yeah, I think they don't know that Jake teleports there. I mean, maybe he plays it safer in the backside.
He's not there for the fight, and then he's playing for the clock. So it's like, I get it, but at the same time, you're lessening your chances of winning the first leg so that you can potentially guarantee the second, and then you still don't win that because there's two people available. It's just like the risk assessment felt a little off there, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's valid. We'll save round here for YFP. Just a couple of pistol upgrades and a stinger for Stellar. And the first blood is already in tow for Winthrop. So taking their time backing off just a touch. I mean, you saw that early pressure for B-Dog. He actually re-steps back into B main. And the Prowler being sent aggressively has moves thinking that he could be timing on this, and he can. A little spray down for two, and that will be all green pastures between them and B.
Should be fairly simple from here, but Winthrop are going to make sure that everything is nice and clear. Glyph continues to play aggressive for the high ground nice and early, but actually isn't really throwing anything towards it. So it almost feels like more of a dry clear for the sake of Winthrop kind of feeling out how much space and time they have to take over the B site, which
last player standing.
At this point, now that the toxic screen has sort of served its conditioning course, feels like it's going to be where Winthrop is going to start speeding up their execute and polishing up to take this to 8-4. With the help of the Neon, the fast lane, you really prevent a lot of cheeky rat plays from working as well. So it's not like YFP can kind of tuck themselves in like they do for a lot of other defensive games, like we've seen previously this match even. So you're going to force them to either play really heavy for the distance, and then you can just have Winthrop do their normal B site execute with minimal util and then just absolutely decimate in the fight. Or you do tuck yourself in and you play a coin flip and you try and hit Infiltrator.
Well, see how things try to adjust here for YFP. Spy cam out early at B main, already deleted, so flank watch underway is going to be a little bit more passive as we did in B-Dog. Respond to the pressure mid quickly. Yeah, really well done here for YFP, but they're maybe overstaying their welcome a touch. Everything will back away just behind that area at mid-stairs. Prowler to feel things out a little while longer, but the spam will not connect. Boobs Nolly's still interested in kind of taking this fight, though. And a bold call to be sure, because I don't know if they know that Jake is playing as close as he is.
Down mid. Last
And yeah, now it's just down to moves. He knows he's got more in front of him. He's avoiding the double swing nicely, but Stellar will eventually spam him out. Find the elimination. We'll go tied to 5.
It's diabolical of moves to just tuck himself in and leave Ollie to die and then come back out to try to 1v3. A diabolical angle in the first place to hold on to, but yeah, Winthrop, a bit of a deer in headlights type beat for that approach this round. Got stopped pretty early on after Infiltrator couldn't do anything with that ultimate, and YFP were they're already for the mid fight. Winthrop really didn't have anything anywhere else. They just kind of had to see if they could make the mid fight work anyway, and they couldn't. So a great restabilization here from YFP to give them a good leg up in the remainder of this half.
Oh, we did. Already seeing a bit of information at middle. B-Dog playing aggressive all.
Woo!
Tried for the ult, but has to retract back. So nothing gained, nothing lost really on either side. B-Dog will re-step up into main, though, at A. With some support. Ollie very aware this could be a potential play. Just comes down to, do you check it?
Is it even timed in? We've seen Stellar already perform some miraculous setups with the flash. There it is! That's perfect for B-Dog.
The way it be sometimes. So now it's just down to the hit towards B. We did up close and personal. First shot misses. Good jump peek coming out. Avoiding the relay bolt though. Fast lane is out. Good read from Weeded on Blitz teleport up top. Plus he gets another huge effort from Weeded. Winthrop will still at least remotely get on the site. Infiltrator by themselves though has to navigate a 1v3.
And with that null command popped, Infiltrators had to slow down the reapproach, so no ability to escape until just now. Still though, nobody holding A site, 15 seconds on the clock. He will have just enough time to get on and hold this plant. Risky business, but Winthrop have the chance to reset. Infiltrator can maybe get a couple on the way down, and YFP's economy is still nothing to write home about coming into the last round of this half.
Well, Infiltrator will tuck himself in at elbow. Knife will not reveal him, so no information is good information here for YFP. You know he's not on site, so he's got to be somewhere just off. And B-Dog very aware, able to take down Infiltrator without too much cause for concern. 5-5 now, an edge to YFP as they find their 6th.
That was such a wildly impressive round from Stellar, from his calling to his execution, from the flash grenade from one like linear side, like entire, like one end of the map from the hallway on that flash to enable B-Dog on the opening kill, to coming right back over to B site the second the execute starts, because he knows exactly where the rest of the team is now that they've killed the lurker, and then null command to completely shut down that push too. That was a masterclass from this KO. Love seeing Stellar play it here on Corrode. Such a perfect fit both for him and this team on this map. A great way to let B-Dog really fly free, and that round you got to see it in spades.
Where are you?
Well, defense showing some pressure once again. Oh, and Ollie just cannot find the connection. Shooting at ghosts. And then eventually 2 kills get tallied early for YFP. Moves with 1 response though back over towards mid-step, so not out of the realm of possibility from trading this thing completely back, especially as we did finding some damage on the way out. But as soon as he gets the reset with the help from Thief, the reach out is perfect, and YFP will close out the half 7-5.
He did feeling really good after that round as well, and he's definitely started to pick up a lot of extra slack this round, or this half. Actually, top fragging coming out of it as well. He's been a little heavier on top of his own prowlers, and Corrode, with how open it is, how large it is, it does force you to be a little more self-reliant, and YFP really playing into that narrative. We did as the new guy. You expect him to maybe be a little newer to that mindset, but absolutely not. He plays for himself in the same way that every other one does on YFP, and he does it so damn well. It's going to be another heavy util pistol round here for YFP. They're going to try and pump and dump into mid and A to get an early pinch and win out the fight in the long haul.
But this quick tempo from B-Dog forces some defensive utility for Winthrop with the pistol as he refracts backwards, and the offensive hit now starts to develop over towards A main. And they may, say Stellar might find some contact here, but no. Did not expect that Winthrop was going to walk right through the dark cover at mid. And that's going to immediately trigger the counterattack where YFP are going to commit to playing onto A, seeing two members playing over towards the mid part of the map. And yeah, that works beautifully. Really good connection there. It looked like they wanted to back away 10, but it just came down to, hey, two people playing through mid aggressively. Let's just run onto A instead.
It feels so necessary to hold it down at that point. You don't know where everyone else is. The intel is still so touch and go, and the chokes are still so close by. But Winthrop, the remaining members are actually a fair distance out, so YFP have a little extra time to reset.
I must wait a moment.
So those two remaining players stay choked up close in the hallway on top of that safe spike plan on the outskirt.
So you got a recon and two shock darts here. And Governor reveals there's nothing on site. Great first bounce off the shock. Second gonna go into the corner. That will take care of Weeded. It's just down to one. Thief, low HP, not gonna happen. And yeah, Winthrop, I mean, honestly, you get away with one a little bit with that double peek over through mid, but more importantly, you just have the right tools available for YFP to come back in and fight that 2v2 on site.
And it should be said that if you didn't have the right players for that, then it would have been a lot tougher, especially with how little time Winthrop had left at that point. So it's a good thing that Governor was the one still up and running, capable of being able to run down this this choke that YFP kind of put themselves up towards. Rough timing at the end of the day for both sides, but Winthrop getting the edge for it and potentially a way back into this game. It is truly monumental for them. Infiltrator already, in fact, going to buy up into this Outlaw to really try and put YFP in their spot, but three members of YFP have one heavy shields.
Should be a mixy one. Glyph sees the Prowler go on by. B-Dog takes some damage, but teleports back. Allows Jake to at least provide for one trade, but the crossfire setup too strong at A main. Eventually, Winthrop will respect the fact that YFP have some numbers pushing through them, so they'll back away. And we'll take it 4v3. And honestly, Governor, in the Aldrum, and the fragment's going right his direction. Follow-up peek not going to work out, and Glyph's going to hear the footsteps and wait for help.
A lot of raw confidence just oozing from YFP as they walk up this way. With the guns they have, they can make it work, and they find Glyph close up. Now it's Infiltrator's turn on this Outlaw, as the crunch will once again come from Moobs.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, and that's just really good awareness from Winthrop to know that, yeah, we've got a good crossfire set up here at A main, but no need for us to take a 2v5, especially recognizing that YFP had made a purchase in that round. So you back off, you wait for numbers, and it works out really nicely for you, because otherwise I think it gets a little bit too mixy right on top of the A site, especially with how aggressive YFP were playing with tempo. But the rotation over is strong, and now this bonus starts to look really good for Winthrop facing up against a YFP team who's not able to afford much.
They're going to continue to have to play around just B-Dog coming in and being that raw intel. They have to try and just farm trades off of it. That's how they try to make the previous round work, and they don't really have much else to bring to the table this time around. Here he comes into the trap wires. He will avoid both of them and make his way onto mid-link. He's avoided everything so far, and YFP can execute onto the site.
No. I mean, that smoke just deters everything for Winthrop, but at the same rate, you still have to fight against these weapons, and that's just, again, good patience from Winthrop. Yep. It's absolutely perfect. You could get stuck by that. You could feel like you have to force it, especially if the players peek at your B tower, but keep your numbers, keep your weapon advantage. Good fight back here, though, late for YFP. Have not been able to fully plant yet, though, and that's what may end to be the losing result, unless Thief can hit a couple of shots. And, ooh, he's been seen on the way out. Almost able to bait Winthrop back into it, but now he runs out of ammunition, and Ollie will secure the bonus. 8-7, Winthrop back in the lead.
Really just scraping it out, though, keeping Winthrop on their toes, and their economy still pretty low. So YFP continue to just come with, you know, guns blazing on these game plans. It really just comes with finding enough profit. And once again, B-Dog, unfortunately, he's able to get really forward and take that site. Unfortunately, no kills on top of it, and the gun advantage too much this time. But, I mean, the blueprint has shown itself to be very applicable here with how much B-Dog can do kind of instantaneously. And again, I mean, YFP, their chemistry is so lethal. Jake smokes are going to be so perfectly timed on top of it.
Well, playbook is one thing. You heard it from Roy. He loves the ideas that YFP are playing with. It's just the execution is not fully there. So going into a follow-up bonus, so to speak, here for Winthrop. Let's see what we can find in terms of potential identifiers for YFP. This round is a bit of a punish for this push through mid, at least initially for first blood. Some considerations towards B if they do decide to commit through these trap wires, where in particular moves has a judge waiting for them.
And Winthrop finally forced to a shoddy buy after all of that damage that YFP was able to slowly do. And neural theft gonna get tossed in by Thief here to try to guarantee this B site that the spike is already at, but the trap wire will cut in to the push just a tad bit and slow this down. Moves can't execute on top though because of this judge, so you can start dumping this util on top of him, make the fight pretty easy. No siree, Moves always making it difficult as the spike goes down.
Yeah, he's just letting them come to him. He's playing in the backside of the site. Now the neural theft is Governor able to barrel stuff onto Jake.
There's no way.
Maybe a chance, but no. Glimpse able to snap in time. How have they pulled this off? Oh, that headshot lands. So Stellar, the 1v1 with Governor. He's able to find himself a Phantom, though, and the upgrade will work out. Winthrop will essentially have back-to-back bonuses, go over the finish line, and now they're 9-7 up with pretty serviceable money to be playing, and YFP are going to be back to the save.
You can feel YFP's trigger fingers itching as Winthrop University wait at the velvet rope queue that is the B-Link. But even still, they can't find the right timing as the collapse occurs. And with YFP's execution already being pretty condensed and readable, after the last extension had already occurred into that back hallway, Winthrop knew where they had to go. Winthrop knew their pathing. They just continued to choke up and choke up and choke up until they took it. And now comes the psychological damage. Now comes the true snowball.
Yeah, and again, this is a round you won't expect to win if you're YFP, but I think we need to talk about it. The Waylay has just not provided really much of anything. Not in this map, and definitely not in map number 1. And it makes you just kind of wonder, is it worth? You know, I see the idea. We've seen the idea a couple of times of the double dash. You refract back. You essentially play a long game bait and switch the rest of your team. But I don't think we've seen a single convergent paths find really any value for B-Dog. The saturate stun has not really landed much at all. It just doesn't feel like it's value.
Yeah, it seems like the B-Dog really wants to like implant himself into fights more often and sort of just like cut into it like a hot knife through butter, but he hasn't really been able to position himself in the middle of teams. He's just had to kind of back right back out. Winthrop has really been attuned to where he's going to end up. They're holding back far enough to account for that. So at the end of the day, it's purely for the sake of the push. And on the way out, you're probably going to end up doing some damage to B-Dog along the way. As this, yeah, like you said, the Waylay continues to go negative, continues to not make as much of an impact as I agree. I think another duelist choice or even, you know, going something else might here on Corrode. YFP going to call this timeout as they have they still have a lot to offer. They've still kind of drained the bank of WU, so they still have the setup. Five straight round losses in. They still have the setup to be able to take a round with impunity. But it just comes down to finishing. And Winthrop University, it seems like they always have another tool up their sleeve. They always have a way to force YFP to play into their fight that it feels like they're really just running into a brick wall every time.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I think the biggest catchphrase we can say about this is we see what they want to do, but we're not seeing it really find the value that it's intended to.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, and I understand, like, Infiltrator has also really not been a factor on the Neon in a lot of ways, even on the offensive half that, you know, didn't really do too much for Winthrop. But I don't know. I see the ideas behind Waylay. I'm not a believer yet. I'll put it that far. And it's not just like in B-Dog's hand. I think it's just generally speaking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The space that Neon gains is material because it's committal. It's like you can't just double back as aggressively as Waylay can. And so Infiltrator is far more intentional with the space he takes. And so if he dies and he gets nothing, that's Winthrop's prerogative. They're going to play like they no longer have Infiltrator. They slow it down on a dime. If B-Dog dies feels like YFP are just like searching for a default kill.
Correct.
It doesn't feel like they're flow treeing into the next game plan.
No, that's a really strong point about it's not actually realized distance gained if you're just refracting back from it. And B-Dog will be found first here. Now Infiltrator's going to get to work doing neon things, shut down by Jake, at least to certain regards, and we'll have a 4v3.
And you'll see Winthrop, they'll slow it down a little bit. They'll have Governor play that lurk position now, and Ollie will back out just a bit. You'll play, again, for the weakest space first. And YFP do know how to apply to that pressure point. We did with the kill, and now the TP as well. This is where something like a Nightfall or a Convergent Paths would be very useful, and we did. And when he gets punished, he's able to use the ulti.
Yep.
One enemy remaining.
Nice shot from Glyph. Jake's trying to bounce through it, not going to work. Stellar sees the barrel, but information is gained, and Stellar is, well, handling it pretty nicely, I'll be honest with you. 1v1 now with Ali, who just takes away the angle, finds the elimination, and has Winthrop cooking on 11, looking good for 12 as YFP need to make a decision if they want to force purchase or not.
I love this composition apart from the Waylay too. I love the KO from I love Stellar's KO so much. He plays it so differently, and I love how much how reliant he is on going for setups and going for those like teamwork plays, because most of the teamwork you see from YFP is, again, so individually, it relies on so much individuality on having every player kind of know exactly what they need to do and just go execute their own tasks and then just come back together and duke it out. With Stellar on KO, those are some of the few times you see like very synergistic moments from YFP, and it's really beautiful because these guys have been together for God knows how long.
Well, see if we can find something here for YFP with the Guardians, a Sheriff, and the only two players who can afford rifles have them. There's the Convergent Paths. Null Command also spent as part of this execute. Governor just holding on site, and he will eventually be overwhelmed. It's looking good for YFP, especially depending on the timing of this rotation out of Thief. Only has a pistol, but he may come up behind this for free. Sure looks that way. I'll be able to find one, but no, there's the pinch from Thief. And that's going to be the round for YFP unless Glyph or Infiltrator can do something, but no, they're not going to risk the weapons.
Playing as that slow-rolling tank this time, B-Dog understanding that if he can't infest the map with the Convergent Paths, he'll just clear a path with it and let YFP get the freest execution off of a null command that Corrode has ever seen. Winthrop playing for exits, and they will get Thief searching at least, but YFP on the board thanks to that double ulti and a great wrap by Thief, grabbing that 2 with the Sheriff. Winthrop thought that they could once again get just a little ahead of things, but this time YFP, that slow roll actually works a little to their advantage, allows them to adjust the pace perfectly for Thief to time that well, and ultimately get ahead.
Okay, Lifeline keeps you away from having to fight against overtime the entire way through. And yeah, there's nowhere for Governor to go. And then, yeah, the timing of Thief is perfect. Everything working out nicely. Still enough in the coffers here for Winthrop to purchase up. And importantly to note, they also have a couple of the key ultimates available, the Viper's Pit and the Hunter's Fury in particular.
Wow, my eyes
they can put the brakes on the fight as long as they read where it is. And YFP has not given themselves away at all here on B yet, but they also haven't given themselves anywhere else. And W is pretty choked up, so let's stick Infiltrator on this with the operator ready for the push. B-Dog is just gonna, he's just gonna hightail it. He's gonna get out. He's not even gonna look around.
The Hunter's Fury putting a pause of that, and yeah, Infiltrator has an angle. Now he's got the overdrive up, plus a pinch, or at least the crossfire with Glyph, but both come up a bit empty, and Stellar somehow comes away with 2. You thought that was going to be the perfect trap sprung by Winthrop. Not the case, and all of a sudden, numbers go the opposite direction off the post plan for YFP.
Felt like there wasn't nearly enough flashing to fully clear that. Stellar, I mean, he doesn't have anything left in his kit now that everything's been tossed, but WU, they looked prepped. They just couldn't hold the shots down, and YFP have the reset now.
One enemy remaining. Last player
Well, a couple of the trades come out, leaving him for the 1v1. Stellar fighting up Gonzalez. Snake bite lands for some damage, but Stellar finishes off the final kill for 4 in the round. Snake bite almost just got it done by itself, but now YFP are starting to build up a bank account. More importantly, they've got Winthrop down to relatively neutral terms in their economy, and we may have a bit of a comeback effort on our hands.
And Stellar with some soccer mom management coming into this is, yeah, he lets that pop flash fly to the back, so these close corners aren't fully cleared. An Infiltrator, again, it's not red that he's going to stay close to this with the operator, so he gets that free pick early, but YFP, they're able to double down into the fight and send a couple extra members further forward onto what they know will be an attempt to trade off of Infiltrator's body and hold on to that operator, which apparently Governor really wanted to as well. So great way to hold it down from Stellar to, again, give YFP another shot at holding on to this map and by extension the match 2 rounds down and continuing to just search for that opening pick that Winthrop are getting less and less willing to hand over. The only person really forward is Glyph, even on this eco round.
Aldrone trying to scout things out, doesn't really see too much of anything. Winthrop just stacked up on this corner. Glyph holding on to something. B-Dog for 1, and then wow, Weeda just spams out another, even though the paranoia had landed. Timing wasn't necessarily perfect, and YFP will have a lot of space to work with over towards B. The only thing in the way is moves and his traps.
Camera taken out. Found you.
One enemy remaining.
Just
Not gonna happen.
yeah, no chance this round.
30 seconds
Ollie could hold on to this gun. I mean, you probably want to get rid of
planted.
some rifles here because they are able to buy in the next round, and YFP's not necessarily. It's a little bit unstable, so maybe we'll play for an exit.
Yeah.
I'm really liking, again, how YFP have adjusted into this and been willing to just kind of play with whatever they end up having left over. Because sometimes they'll lose Jake, sometimes they'll lose Weeded,
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
they'll lose B-Dog, but the way that they've slightly altered their play style, the way they've slightly altered how they fight around each other in order to still keep this B site nice and healthy and clean and quick, very impressive, very replicable as well. So you can get to 13 from here, very foreseeable.
And honestly, if the news just gets better the longer this goes for YFP. Nightfall, Null Command going to be back online before you see things like a Hunter's Fury or the Overdrive. So Winthrop's, yeah, going to take the time out to talk about this. Wouldn't be surprised if this is the run to try to pop some sort of a Viper's Pit just to try to break down what's happening on the map at the moment. Because honestly, the last couple of rounds you could categorize as just some unfortunate timings. That last one's kind of a moot point just due to the fact that it's trying to get a sneaky stack up an A main. But the 2 rifle rounds before that, YFP have just responded really nicely to what, honestly, like if you were to break down, like take a freeze frame of the minimap before it breaks down, it's like you've got perfect crossfire setups for Winthrop. They're just not hitting the shots. So I think there is a level of, hey, let's just shoot better and let's make life a little bit more difficult for YFP breaking on in. Because even in that moment right there where it's like the op shot hits, the overdrive is out, you've got them choked up into a choke point, but then Stellar finds 4. It's just, yeah, it's one of those things that just don't find the trades as they need to. Maybe they're just not playing close enough off each other or what, but I don't think we need to, reinvent the wheel here if you're Winthrop.
Yeah. It might also, yeah, I think they might be getting a little bit scared of B-Dog as well. They feel like with those crossfires, like you said, it's a little tougher to know how to properly adjust when you know the fight's about to start, but you don't know who's going to start it. If B-Dog is going to rush in with this doubled up dash, or if you're going to have a pop flash with a 4 stack that you just need to hold down. It's a nice mental game that YFP are forcing WU to play regardless of how many members are there. You have to force a lot of contingencies. But again, the only thing you can really use the convergent for is just to clear a path at this moment. Because again, B-Dog has had no luck kind of getting in the middle of things.
They found my wire.
Well, quick plant has us at a 5v5. Governor backs off, giving some space. That'll connect for 1. Most importantly, that's also Stellar out of the picture. Op shot connects as the smokes fade. Uh-oh. Trouble now for YFP. Someone's going to have to step up on this as the full flood is likely to come in through this A-Link. Good crossfire on this for now. There's the Neon shut down, and yeah, you just put him in a bit of a bottleneck. And now it's just down to, can you win the 1v1 on the outside? Yes, you can. Just down to Jake for the 1v2. Moves already on for the fuse. Ollie steps back, and Winthrop will find themselves on match point.
Winthrop played that so beautifully on the macro. You saw YFP figuring that they need to punish this A-Link early so that they don't get pinched from the back. And so they started trying to throw a couple bodies into the fight, even though it didn't look very resourceful, even though you were trying to cross out of smokes, even though you know that you're looking into an operator, you know you have to win that fight early. And then they start losing people so easily, they're like, okay, maybe we should just slow things down and wait until they push in. And they do, and YFP wins that entire fight so instantaneously. And then the backstab happens. Then that worst fear finally comes to fruition, and it works out just enough for Winthrop University. That fallback approach, that one contingency gets them to 12, gets them to match point here, 2 rounds strong.
Quick hit once again. Oh, B-Dog not able to refract back as Infiltrator hits the quick scope right in front of him. Paranoia just out to re-clear the front doors at A. And YFP are going to have to reset this and try to find a different part of the map to play off of. And Governor's is throwing shoulders at mid, and he's going to get information that they are not committed to A anymore.
Revealing area.
And just browsing again. Seeing if they can maybe take back mid a little bit heavier this time after Infiltrator started getting a couple decent op shots, and that Odin from Governor started spraying it down. Became less of a space that you could passively occupy, but after all of this heavy warring in the other sites, it feels like YFP can try and re-up here after the knife will confirm the link position. Seems like Winthrop are going to try and go for their pinch.
Just too much of a shoulder. Yeah, Governor's just going to put this one a little bit more out of question. 4v2 situation, not unwinnable yet, especially if we can join up and turn this into 2 separate 2v2s based on how the defense is placed on the map. But the traps are well and in place for moves, and yeah, he sees the peek off of his cam, finds the pick, and it's just down to Weeded trying to play off the timing of the spike toggle. Oh goodness, the relay bolt is in, and Glyph will finally put us home to a 2-1 count. But again, a very back and forth affair. Could not really have been much tighter between these two teams. I mean, again, like I said, map 1's numbers on the scoreboard will look